debt that earned him a hard stare from Hiram. "That must be one hell of a hand you've got, your grace," he murmured, tapping his finger thoughtfully atop the stack of chips before him, a stack that was quite a bit smaller than it had been at the start of the evening. Christian offered a non-committal shrug, and nothing more. "I don't think you'll be getting any hints out of this fellow with that steely stare of yours, Hiram," Mr. Ransom said. "Englishmen are cool as cucumbers. Believe me, I know," he added, making a wry face as he tossed his cards into the muck. "Fold." Hiram straightened in his chair. "Maybe you're right, Arthur, but I've got one hell of a hand myself. In fact, your grace," he added, returning his attention to Christian, "I think my hand is better than yours. Call and raise another 10,000. Christian knew the hand was his. All he had to do to claim the winnings was see the bet, but he hesitated, appreciating that there was more at stake here than a round of poker. Some men were not of a mind to discuss business after being defeated at cards, and business was the reason he was here. Perhaps he should fold and let Hiram win the pot. No, he decided. He was enough of a gambler to bank on the notion that Hiram wasn't the sort to sulk over a lost round of cards. "I'll see you," he said, and matched the bet. "4 aces, Hiram said, grinning as he fanned out the 3 aces in his hand beside the one on the table, but his triumph was short-lived. "Straight flush," Christian said, laying down his own cards. "Queen high." Hiram stared at the cards for a moment, but then, much to Christian's relief, he laughed. "4 aces, the best hand of my life, and I can't even win the hand." Still laughing, he sat back in his chair, shaking his head in good-natured disbelief. "You are one lucky son of a bitch, your grace." Christian knew being lucky at cards wasn't enough. Thanks to the massive amount of debt his profligate elder brother had managed to accumulate before his death, Christian was not only the newest Duke of Scarborough, he was also required to find a more lucrative and stable way of earning an income than cards. How ironic, he thought as he raked in his winnings, that Andrew had always been regarded as the good son, yet had managed to spend a fortune into oblivion with nothing to show for it, while Christian, who had made quite a good living off his gambling over the years, was still considered by many in the family to be the black sheep. Still, he was the Duke now, and could no longer afford to gamble for his living. He'd arrived in America yesterday with one purpose in view: to forge connections with men who knew how to make money, prepared to offer his own British connections in exchange in the hope that investment opportunities would follow. Drinks at the Oak Room and an introduction to Hiram through a mutual acquaintance had led to what was proving to be a very lucrative evening for Christian. "You'd soon find this cash back in your pocket, Mr. Burke," he said as he stacked his winnings in front of him, "if you would allow me to buy shares in that new transatlantic telephone company of yours." "How'd you hear about that? The shares haven't even been offered yet." Christian smiled. "I do have some connections here already, Mr. Burke." "Your sister, you mean? She was married to Roger Shaw, wasn't she? The architect?" "She was, yes. And she manages to learn all the latest news here in New York, despite the fact that she is a widow now and spends most of her time in Paris." "She's here now, I understand." He paused, tilting his head to give Christian a thoughtful look. "And she probably has your social calendar completely filled with engagements already." Christian paused, considering, knowing he had to tread carefully. "Actually, no. My primary purpose in coming to New York is not social, but business." Hiram gave a rather awkward laugh, tugging at one ear. "I see. When you accepted my invitation to play cards this evening, I'd hoped—" Hiram paused, but there was no need for him to finish. Christian already knew what Hiram Burke's hopes had been, but his interest was in transatlantic telephone lines, not transatlantic matrimony. Alas.